How's it going, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH after show. This is gonna be the episode where I just rant and rave, both on what I've seen on screen and what has been going on behind the scenes. Because last week seemed to be the week where everything that could go wrong went wrong. So obviously there's two storylines that really pissed me off this week. Sabrina Santiago was murdered. Wasn't surprised by that, but I'm still furious nonetheless, and I'll tell you why in a bit. The other storyline that pissed me off, Julian Jerome is clearly about to go free, because God forbid a bad guy actually go to jail for once on this show. I'll get more into those in a little bit, but first let's talk about the behind the scenes. This week we found out that Tyler Christopher, who plays Nicholas Cassadine, will not be returning to the show. Rumor has it that after he took his little leave of absence for whatever personal reason he had, the show decided to not hire him back on. I don't know if that's true or not. If it is, it seems like a very low thing for the powers that be to do to the poor guy. Over the past couple of years, the character of Nicholas went through the worst writing for the character that has ever been done, and there's no way to pick it up now. I honestly don't see the powers that be recasting the character because they've killed him off twice now, so like hiring another recast would just seem redundant. But it truly irks me that there's no recovering for the character. It already seemed next to impossible to redeem him anyway. Now they don't really even get a chance, and we don't get to see Tyler, and it's And if that wasn't enough, Brian Craig, aka Morgan Corinthos, announced that he would be leaving the show as well. It's too early to tell whether they're going to be killing the character off. I really don't think so. I think they're honestly going to recast him. Say what you will about the character of Morgan Corinthos, but Brian Craig is one hell of an actor. So for the show to lose this guy is such a blow. Apparently he will make his last appearance in November, and that sucks. The only good thing I think is going to come out of this is that I think they're going to go with Kiki and Dylan. But man, I was rooting for Morgan to get his life back together. Okay, but let's get into the actual stories of GH. The hospital killer storyline has come to like its ultimate climax. Paul managed to get his hands on Monica Quartermain. He stuck the Duracell in her. Sabrina is the one that found her on the floor and saved her life. She had told Paul to get help, but when she was finished helping Monica herself, she ran into Paul later and realized that he didn't go for help. Paul tried to cover his tracks, but he was stumbling with his words, and when he reached in his pocket, the gloves that, of course, God forbid. Hello. Paul tried to cover his tracks, he was stumbling with his words, and then he reached into his pocket and the gloves fell out. Sabrina tried to escape, but he pulled her into a room and literally strangled her to death. I was just so angry watching those scenes. I was just sitting there like pissed off. And listen, I'm not even that big of a Sabrina fan. And out of every doctor and nurse character, it made sense for her to be the one that gets killed. But it's just that it boils my blood that we're losing nurses and doctors on a show called General Hospital. And yet they're keeping a mobster who tried to murder his wife on the show instead of throwing him in jail. Which is an awesome segue to talk about this storyline. I knew it was looking bleak the moment that Ava found out that Paul was the killer. To me, it was inevitable after that. Watching it play out on screen, extremely frustrating. Of course, Paul found some kind of way to make the recording inadmissible in court. So there's that. And then of course, he manages to drug Alexis and make her look like a poor witness on the witness stand. I was just cringing the entire time watching it. Like, oh. I get that William DeVry is very liked, but you know what? So is Sebastian Roche, who plays Jerry Jacks. Do I love when he's on screen? Absolutely. Do I want him on full time? Hells no, he is a villain. In my opinion, villains should be brought out to wreak havoc once in a blue moon. Something I long to see on soap operas is actual heroes. I don't want to see mobsters saving the day. I don't want mobsters to be heroes. I want them to be mobsters. I think that if you're going to bring a character to a point where he's going to slice his wife's neck, murder one of his gunmen, and on top of that, order a hit out on another person, then he should be going to jail. Because to me, there is no point in sitting there watching these storylines play out if you're not going to have an ending to it. The bad guy should go to jail. There is nothing more frustrating to me than watching all these bad guys be really bad and then having the cops look like complete idiots in the end. These little twists and turns that the writers pull to get these characters off are beyond ridiculous. Ava escapes prison, fakes her death, and then turns into Aunt Denise for what? Sonny gets pardoned for saving the governor's daughter, the beeline character that existed for like a week. Those of you that know me know that I absolutely loved the classic General Hospital, like the 80s GH. In those storylines, there were clear good guys and clear bad guys, and there was never a doubt that the bad guys were going to go to prison. How popular an actor or an actress was that played the role never factored in. The bottom line was, if there was a bad guy, they would eventually be going to jail, put away by the heroes of the show. You know, the Robert Scorpios and the Anna Devanes and the Frisco and Felicias and the Luke and Laura's, they always got the better of their villains. And you know what happened after that? More villains came in. It's how the show stayed interesting. Now when I see bad guys on the show doing unthinkable things, I'm like, Wonder what the writers are going to do to get them out of it this time. I don't think of that in a positive way. Quite the opposite. It's really frustrating. And I can't speak for the rest of the audience. This is just my opinion. I am super not happy right now, if you can't tell. Anyway, another thing that happened this week was that Hayden and Elizabeth officially found out that they are siblings. But for Hayden, it's a little bit too late. Before Elizabeth had actually found out that Hayden was her sister, she had gotten Sabrina, before she was murdered, to go bring the diamonds to the PCPD, and the feds came in to arrest her. Pretty sure she's gonna get away with it somehow. Hayden isn't exactly a villain, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna get away with it, because the actress is popular, and she won't be off the show. Another storyline where we know what's gonna happen. I wish I could say that I enjoyed this week, but I clearly didn't. And even doing this after show, I am just not enjoying talking about it because I'm just getting more and more frustrated. I sincerely hope that I enjoy next week a lot better. Thank you for watching me rant. I am sorry that this was a very angry video, but I just had to get my frustration out. I will catch you guys next time.